Hello and welcome to this WorldAnvil.com video where we unpack character template. Well, the character template, I should say. Now, the character template is quite a remarkable function. If you have to create a character, this is the tab for you. So, from kings and queens to heroes and peasants, let's have a look at character creation. Now, of course, the very first thing that pops up is step 1, write your article title. So that I usually just use the name of the character that I'm going to be creating. Again, as with the buildings, we're going to look at what is the purpose of the character within your world. Is it the king, the emperor, a beggar? Is it someone who's of importance? Is it someone who's of little importance? If they're of little importance, you don't necessarily need to go through all of this detail. But if it is someone who is going to significantly impact the story that you're telling within the setting that you're creating, it's worth going through these options, and they are absolutely complete. You've got a whole lot of things. So you've got, I'm not going to go through each and every single one of them, but something that's important for you to do before you create a character is to create your world date. Now you'll see that that's highlighted under year of birth, and of course year of death is there as well, and it'll do all the calculations in terms of their age, which I particularly like because I find it particularly troublesome to do that myself. So when we are creating an NPC, a character in this case, there are a lot of things. There's naming. Now, how do you name a character? Again, I refer back to the setting and I refer to the purpose of the character. What is their purpose within the story? Are they there to help engage with the players or with the hero characters? Are they there to thwart the hero characters? Are they a positive effect or are they a negative effect? And then I try and come up with names that are either positive sounding names or negative sounding names. I know it sounds fairly simple, but that's the process that I go on. I can also then go a step further and I think of characters, individuals who are from Earth's history that have a negative connotation, and then I replace a couple of the letters, maybe drop a vowel or add an extra consonant in the name, maybe change an F to a D or a K to a G, however that might work, to start to generate these character names. And of course, with the naming tab, there are just so many options that come up with family name, nicknames, aliases, all those kind of wonderful things. Now, again, there are so many things in this tab. You just have to work your way through it. Some of the things you might look at and say, well, what's the point? Why do I need to add in failures and embarrassments? Well, perhaps this is information that the players are going to discover later on and they can use it in negotiations against this individual. So popping in notes and things here are very important. And of course, remember your tags so you can allow certain players, once they've discovered information, to see that information on the character sheet and others not. If you've got the Patreon subscription level where you can then, of course, group different pieces of information to different players and characters and that kind of thing. There's all sorts of things in here that are absolutely fantastic in terms of coming up with descriptions for your characters. Now, another tricky thing when we look at characters particularly is motivation. What is their motivation? Now, that's a whole video all on its entiresome, all on its own in terms of the motivation of the character. If the character is a villain, you can head on over to the channel, look at how to be a great GM videos. There's one there called Your Villain's Wants and Needs. What do they want? And there's a whole video that unpacks all of that so that you can have a look at it and get to the very bottom of how to come up with the motivation of your character. Again, I just say go back to what is the purpose of that character within your narrative. If they're there to harass or they're there to support, their motivations should be aligned or completely contrary to the party itself. If they're just neutral and they haven't made a decision yet, their motivations should be for they should be for self, they should be for their own purposes and goals. Again, bear in mind that every piece of information that you fill in, the more that you fill in, the better, because it simply empowers you later on to be able to draw from any of these boxes that you have filled in to be able to then tell a better, richer story. And you can really go all the way further along in terms of the societies. If you've set up societies, they can belong to societies and things. If they are divine, if they're a deity, you can put that in here as well. And then there's even boxes for the domains, which refer, of course, to certain role-playing systems as well. So the character creation space is a complete character from top to bottom, and the more boxes you fill in, the more information you fill in, the better. Remember, what is their purpose within your narrative? What is their purpose within your campaign setting? And then try and focus everything towards that. What's the theme of your setting? Perhaps that's something that's going to help you focus your character creation more, if they fit within the theme. And to give you some basic examples, if you look at the characterization from, let's say, Star Wars, A New Hope or Return of the Jedi, you've got Darth Vader, very dark past, very deep voice, very ominous, very much an embodiment of the theme of the Empire and of course the theme of that entire movie. So you've then also got the Emperor, again dark, very focused around the theme of the story. The heroes, of course, the central hero, Luke, we're not sure which way he's going to go. He might join the Empire, he might join his father, so he in the film is dressed in black, which we have associated with the villains, because he might become one, but his face is exposed, he's still youthful, he's still young and handsome, and so there is that hope that starts to come through. Again, all of this information you can just bury into the different boxes, the different tabs within this template, and just create a character that suits your space, and that when the audience starts to see this person, when their characters start to interact with this person, they get a sense that this is part of a bigger narrative, a more complete narrative. So what are you waiting for? Light up the forge.